Hello and welcome to the first episode of what we're going to call Unfiltered Wellness. I'm Gabriel Jacobo. This is Austin, Maine. And Austin, say hello to everyone.
What is up, guys? Super excited for us to finally get this rock and roll. And this has been an idea of, I guess I've had an idea of doing some stuff with this for 2 years. And then you came along and the ideas actually started to rock and roll. It's awesome to get to see ideas starting to come to life and then be able to take the ideas you've had with these and bring them all together. So I'm just super excited to be able to pour out things that, we love and enjoy and helping us and share that with others.
Absolutely. And let me go ahead and set the stage on this. Let me tell you what this I don't even want to call it a podcast. It's more just like, let me tell you what it's not. We're not throwing stuff just to talk about it, to feel good, to, be like, oh, this is fun. But we really want to help you understand that there's not one way to think about something, that there's so many different ways to attack your goals and live your life in a way that fulfills you and leaves you wanting to go get more. That's the reason why we called it Unfiltered Wellness, because some of the things that we're going to talk about are really outside the norm of what you find scrolling on TikTok, or, try this 40-minute HIIT workout to lose body fat in 30 days. That is not what this is. We are looking at everything and helping you understand it at a very more simplified level to apply to your everyday life. With that being said, Austin, go ahead and give us a quick bio about, how you got started into this, everything from A to Z that you want to talk
A to Z, let's do it. Oh, growing up, I had this thought process always. I'd ask coaches, like, well, why are we doing these things? And I came from a school that was very notorious for football success. And it's just always like, oh, it's just what we do. Like, shut up and do it. And I was like, there's got to be more to this. And so over time, what that led to was this route of understanding numbers. It's like I needed to quantify to know, like, okay, am I actually getting better from this workout, or am I just working out? And that led to eventually opening up a gym. It was MAP Clinton, which was awesome, great time. I got to really start to apply those concepts and start to figure out numbers. I realized that there was processes to be worked. If you could work a process, you could achieve the results you wanted. That was very freeing to me. It gave me a lot of, for me personally, it made me believe in myself when I started to realize there was a pattern to actually be able to accomplish things that you wanted to accomplish. It didn't just have to be a dream. I didn't mean for MAP to be like a map of the way there, but in a sense it was. And so that was very much starting out. During that time, as I was running the gym, I lived in it as well. So I lived in our gym for about 3 years. During that time, I would travel around the US and go meet with coaches. I would meet with coaches, gym owners, just asking questions. I was just generally curious, like, how can I help the people I'm working with actually get better? How can I help myself get better? I realized that as I was excited and I was having fun with my training, seemed like everybody else was also thriving as well. And vice versa. When that wasn't good, something was off with me and I needed to figure that thing out. So got to go every single coast of the US, other than I guess the Pacific Northwest, to go meet with different people. It was ton of fun. Got to learn a lot of great things. Primarily what I was working with was athletes, field sports. So think,
about.
football, softball, anywhere from junior high, high school, college, but I also had an extensive background in CrossFit as well. So I'd worked with people as young as the youngest client we had was 7 years old, upwards of 77 years old. So I've got to see a lot of different things over time. At one point, I ended up moving up to Cincinnati, taking some time there to work at CrossFit Conjugate, get to manage that with Shane Sweat. Shane was a really big integral part in my life of really helping me understand like how to believe in myself, how to work for something, I had always felt there was more, like I could do something more. I could do something that meant something, not necessarily to others, but maybe to me. And out of that, there'd be things that others found as well. And Shane was very integral in helping me do that. During the time I was living in the gym, I would travel back and forth to Cincinnati a bunch, usually monthly to go see him. There's a 28-hour round trip. Would sleep in my car a lot of the times because I couldn't
That's a
make
long ways.
the drive home. On the way back, I'd just be so tired. So a lot of Walmart parking lots were fun, good place to sleep with some blankets, stay in the car and rock and roll with it. That had led us all the way to now of being in a place where I still really love strength training. And I think that there's a lot of things that people miss in that, that if they could understand would be extremely beneficial, not just in performance for their given sport, but also in just in a general sense of quality of life. One of our biggest metrics we have when it comes to longevity is muscle mass. If we look at as we age, the more muscle mass we have, the longer our health outcomes are gonna be in. So I think it's very important to have some type of understanding where we can enjoy that process when it comes to strength training, not just doing cardio, but finding other ways to apply the lessons that they can teach. And in turn, I always like to think that people are going to start to learn that process as well, and it's going to inspire more belief in themselves too through that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think a couple of things that you hit on early on in your journey, you talked about having a business and an actual gym called MAP. And I was actually, I worked out there one time. I
That
think it
was
was
beautiful.
2020. Was it
Yeah, the
2020?
yellow one, the yellow building.
Yep. Yep. It was a lot of fun in there. The vibes were high. It's just, it was a really cool place to be. And I only got to be there once. That's also something that I noticed from you right away is you just want to help people. There was no ulterior motive. And even as a couple years went by, I remember you had posted something on Instagram. We had followed each other. You know, we didn't know each other at this level yet. And I had asked, you know, what's something about how to be better on bench? And you sent me like three different links to go to do these different things to set up for the bench, to lock in your lats, all these things. But the reason I tell that story is because that's who you are. You're someone who wants to give people more information because I reached out to you for the information and you were so happy to give me more, like more and more so that I could run with it. So that's a really cool thing that I wanted to highlight there for sure. And another thing, talking about the strength training, we'll get into these things in more depth, but there's a lot of another reason why we're doing this is because there's a lot of people misconstrue what's something like strength training means. Oh, I don't want to get bulky. Oh, I don't want to lose, I don't want to put on muscle. I want to lose fat. And there's so many like, you know, and some people are going to watch and be like, I already know what all that means. But there's a lot of people who don't, and they don't understand what inflammation means. They don't understand what the nervous system entitles, and where does that tie into the equation? So there's so many different things that you're so versed on that we're really excited to dive into for sure.
Yeah, but I gotta say the same. You gotta give us the background. Run us through. How are we here?
Yeah.
What is this thing? Who are you?
Yeah. So let's kind of start with where we are right now. I'm currently all in on endurance sports, specifically in the High Rocks right now. If you don't know what that is, it's 8 kilometers of running filled with 8 fitness stations in between. Basically, zone four hell for an hour to an hour and 15 minutes in my case or so. That is what it is. But I started doing this almost a year ago. I think October 10th, I believe, was my first check-in date with you. That was the first one. So we're coming up on a year. But leading up to that, I'd been a baseball player my entire life. I played other sports growing up, but I really stuck to baseball right away when I got into my teenage years because I just loved the game so much. I didn't want to do anything else. But with that being said, I never really, I never enjoyed running. I didn't like doing suicides. I didn't like running miles. I didn't like doing any of that crap. So I ended up going to play college baseball for 4 years, 2 years in junior college in Concordia, Kansas at Cloud County Community College. And then I ended up finishing out my career at Southwestern Oklahoma State in Western Oklahoma, Weatherford. That's where we kind of met. And
Yeah, get
ended
along.
up there, my current fiance, and now I live in Kiefer, which is just outside of Tulsa. And here I am, just totally all in on the endurance sports and trying to better myself in learning, not just with my body, but with, intellectually, educationally. And it's really been something that I found has changed my life because I focused on these different habits and things to promote my well-being that it's completely changed the trajectory of my life and how I want to live it. And I want to do exactly what you've done for me is help, right? Because you are my coach. You do write my training programs. You do write my nutrition programs. You are kind of a sounding board to different things that I go through in training. So that is why this exists today and what we're doing.
And even go further on that. I I heard this the other day, and it was just talking about coaching as a whole. Like I don't do anything other than coach. I don't run a gym anymore. I just coach. My life's work is who I work with. So if people can take the concepts and the tools and the nutrition and the training and really adhere and do it, they can see what it does. But I can't force people to do things. It's up to them and having a vision for themselves. And I just get to come walk alongside that. That's what you do so well, is you have a strong vision. I just get to come be a support team in the midst of that, enter back and forth of, hey, I think we should go into this coming up. Maybe sometimes like, no, I think we should go here. But we always are in the same pattern of going like, how do we progress? How do we get better? How do we get this outcome we're looking for? I know it's high rocks, but it's when you go after a goal, everything else starts to make sense as well. It makes everything else kind of go from this big thing to it narrows down and makes focus okay here. And then everything else kind of aligns and makes sense because of that. I think as athletes, as former athletes, like field sport, so forth, whenever that leaves, there's a gap. There's a hole that's left, and I see it all the time. And different guys, even girls, it's like after athletics are over, you lose the camaraderie, you lose the goal that you're going after, and it's like, well, what do I do now? I guess I just get married, have a kid, get a house, wait until I retire, and there was my life. And I think for so many people that is, but I do believe that there is another route available on the other side. It just comes down to being curious and asking yourself questions like, hey, what do I want to try? What do I want to do? We didn't sit there back in October a year ago going like, oh yeah, we're gonna go come in and shoot for, sub 60s and this, that, and the other. It's just like, hey, can we enjoy? Like, is this something we're gonna enjoy? Let's just go try it and see if we like it. And then that
Yeah.
turned into, like I look at training volume even as yours at the beginning, and there was, this much, and now there's this much. And it's just like how that process is just so fun to see and
Yes.
to be part of. Like, it's truly a team effort. I don't look at coaching as, uh, here's your coach and here's your athlete. It's like, here's your offensive coordinator, here's your defensive coordinator. What are you seeing on this side? What are you seeing on this side? How do we put these things together and continue to go out and win the game that we have at hand?
Absolutely. And I think that's exactly what we want to tie into with these conversations, is helping people understand. For example, for me, it's high rocks. My level of dedication and focus is, like you said, it's very small, right? Very small, but that also helps other sides of our life. It helps us get a little bit smaller as well. Like, you don't have to go as crazy as I am, but like I sold my PlayStation, because it was, for me, it was a time waster, not just a time waster, but also a sleep inhibitor. It wasn't having a good effect on my recovery. And if I'm not having a good recovery, I'm more susceptible to injury. And then if I'm more injured, then I can't train. If I can't train,
Right.
then what happens to my goals? So there's all those things, life, and we'll get into this later, but the relationships we have and the emotional stresses that are a part of life, we do tie those into how we train and how we recover, because they do have a lot more of an effect on us than what we give it credit for. So it's not as simple as train, sleep, eat. That's it. There's so many other factors, which is why we're calling, like I said, it's unfiltered wellness. These are the things that people don't want to talk about with you. They just want to sell you on, eat these macros, do this workout, and
Here's my
tag me in your post.
diet. Hey, oh well, yeah. Go to the link below. Go get our new supplement. I forgot.
Exactly. Helps you burn fat without even working out.
Instead, what I think wellness to me at least, that's, we've talked about dominoes. Like a lot of people think, oh, just hit the training. Oh, and then we learn like, oh, maybe food's important. So just hit the food. Before any of that is your lifestyle. And I just think that athletics and having a goal to pursue with a performance background on it forces you to have to see like, okay, am I managing stress well? If I'm not managing stress well outside of my training, because training is stress, but so is relationships, finances. I mean, the whole entire thing comes into one pot. If I want to continue to climb and push my ability to train at higher and higher levels, I've got to also take care of those. Wellness sets the base for performance. It just happens that, athletes figure those things out. Well, what if you could take somebody an average, like let's take corporate America for example, and give somebody there something that they're excited about outside of that just day. Like instead of, okay, we got done, it's happy hour on Tuesday, cool, let's go. And what if we were wanted to go train? Like, what if we had something we were looking forward to? What if we had something we were building and working towards? I'm not saying those things are terrible. I still think it's great to have a good time. And I think social connections are part of the wellness spectrum. Not saying those things are bad at all. I'm just saying that maybe sometimes we're looking to get fulfillment out of things that won't actually fulfill us. And I just believe that when you have a goal to go pursue, it helps make all that noise a little bit quieter so you can figure out what it is exactly that you're looking for.
Man, well put. And let me just say that that is a perfect segue into another component of what this is. We are going to be doing group coaching. So, with that being said, let's talk about, like we've already said with me, my goals are very endurance based, they're high rocks based. But there's other people in our sphere that we work with. It's more bodybuilding, it's more strength training, it's more CrossFit, right? But all of us can come together and find a common goal, and that is just overall wellness and camaraderie and being around like-minded individuals who want to live that lifestyle like we talked about, right, Austin? You
Absolutely.
just did a 100-mile bike race, right? I kind of want to do it now. After watching you do it, like I never thought I'd want to do that, but I want to do that. But that is what this is, and everybody's goals are all different, but we're all focused on the same things, which is just improving ourselves as humans, but having a performance-based goal kind of at the center of it so that our entire lives can become better because we're so focused on something, because we put so much dedication to it. So that is also what we talked about as well. Some group coaching we're going to be introducing.
The cool things on that, touch base deeper on that, it's like, well, why offer some group coaching? Why do some of these things? So growing up, a lot of my belief came from powerlifting. After, sport ended, I was in CrossFit, and my training partner at the time kept getting stronger than me and it was ticking me off. I'm like, we're doing the same workout. How come you keep getting better than me? What else do I need to do? And, in my head, I'm like the dominoes. At that point in my time, I just thought training, like, oh, there's got to be something different on training that I need to do. Well, it did lead me down a rabbit trail of West Side Barbell and all these things with powerlifting. And the next thing I know, I'm stepping in a squat suit and, putting 750 pounds on my back and like trying to understand like what all these things are and what is this and how to like stick to a program long term. And like if it says do 1, 2, 3, I do 1, 2, 3. I don't do four
Exactly.
or B, I do 1, 2, exactly what it said. It taught me a structure to follow. This gave me peace in the midst of what felt like chaos in my life at times. And so I just found a really good fallback on that. But one of the big takeaways during that was there are two things that made the biggest difference when it came to somebody truly pursuing and obtaining their highest levels or what the goal they have at hand and so forth. Number one was knowledge. And so here, even with, what is this? This is a way to be able to give knowledge out, to be able to share knowledge, to be able to bring people in, not just us, but even, bringing in guests and having those conversations, increase our knowledge as well as coaches, but also as an audience. The number two, which leads us right into that, was environment. The two things that it required to be able to really pursue wasn't equipment, wasn't the next special program, supplement, this, that, that. It was, can I learn and understand what I'm doing? And can I be around people who are going to, either motivate or irritate? You got to do one or the other. Figure out what that training partner, who you're with, who is in that group, who else is on programs doing things like you're just giving yourself time in an environment to be able to, I know it's an online format, but it's still, you're trying to create that sense of community and environment to really be able to push even further. I know for me, it helps a ton knowing that like last night I'm sitting there in the middle of a training session and I'm like, man, why am I doing this? Like, why am I continuing to do, like, I didn't want to train that day. I'm sitting there, I'm like going through it and I get a text that pops up, transition over to my rowing conditioning for the end of the workout, and I get a text pops up, hear it, I check it, and it's one of the athletes that I work with. It's a parent of one of the athletes sends me a video and is like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, like, she's excelling right now." And like I sat there and I thought about that for a second. I was like, "Huh." Like that's what comes out of this. That's why you continue to show up. That's why you do these things. Because I know that she's holding a standard as a high school athlete. This is a high school athlete. Went to a tournament with an entire cooler full of her meals.
Mm,
Go backwards. A freshman in high school. A freshman. That's very abnormal. That doesn't happen for,
it's
that
uncommon.
tier of athletes. She's also a freshman starting and hitting multiple home runs. Like she's starting at shortstop as a freshman. Like she has all the factors in place to be phenomenal. I've got to work with her for the last 3 years. I started shrink training her when she was a sixth grader and just made it fun, got her curious about it. And she's thrived with it ever since. Just I just know knowing that I got that text, that environment, that community, like I'm sitting there getting ready to roll and I'm like, oh, like this is why you're doing this. Like that was the answer that I was looking for. Okay, get this finished, get to your next thing. Like I think that's
Mhm.
really key and critical to have other people though around you that are willing to set a temperature and hold a standard that is higher. You know, not only is she elevating those around her, but and she's even elevating me as a coach to continue holding those standards. Like I'm going through to get my meals ready, remembering like this is why you do this. There's an impact. This creates change. This does that. That's perfect. It's perfect.
Absolutely. And you made a great point. I think a lot of it, you got to lead by example, and that's what this is. This isn't us telling other people to go do this, go do that. I'm just telling you what this is what works. We know it works, right? Or else we wouldn't be talking about it, I promise. Well, I've got the utmost confidence in what you've given me. I've got a lot of confidence in what I've learned about myself subjectively that I know will help other people and vice versa. And I'm willing to learn more things. That's what this is all about, right? And it's gratifying to be able to help people. I know that got you fired up seeing that text. You're like, that's why I'm doing this. Like you just said it, but you're
Oh,
like,
I texted Buddy immediately, like sent a screenshot. I'm like, hey, he's in the middle of a gym startup and getting some things going. And I just remind him, I was like, hey, like those questions are never going to go away. Of like, whenever it's hard or this, that, the other, and like you ask yourself why, I'm like, these things will hit you though. You'll get the reminders as you're going. You'll get the fuel when you need it. Just keep going.
absolutely. Absolutely. I love it, man. Well, I think we're going to start to wrap it up here. I feel really excited to be able to share more information. And like I said, this is everything encompassing around just overall well being and wellness and uplifting your life to the best of its capability. So we will dive into more specific topics and keep it shorter like this, 30 minutes or less. That is our goal. We want it to be quick. We want it to be applicable, and we want you to be able to consistently carry it out. So, Austin, with that being said, is there anything you want to leave the people with before we depart?
I'm just really excited to get a chance to share, man. It's really I'm an educator at heart. That's behind everything I do. Whenever I'm not doing that, I don't feel aligned. I don't feel like the wellness spectrum is being fulfilled in that sense. So I love just having an outlet and super excited to see, what questions come through from this, how this helps people, what feedback, what different people we get to bring in on this podcast over time. Like I'm extremely happy, man. Like I'm happy to see people perform well and everything else, but the performance to me, it's just a byproduct of learning how to be well. That's really all it is. You focus on the wellness, performance comes with it. You focus on wellness, aesthetics comes with it. Like it just comes down to learning how to take care of yourself, man. Like really, truly, in my opinion. So I'm excited to see that for people.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, I'm right here. I'm living proof of it. My life has drastically improved, and I see a really cool vision with it and opportunity and just a big calling coming my way because of these things that we've incorporated. So I'm excited to do this with you. I'm excited to share, excited to coach, and excited to motivate and help people get to where they want to get. So
I'm excited to hop on a 100-mile bike ride next year. It sounds like too.
100-mile biker. I know I need to get a bike. I need to borrow Isaiah's bike. I was thinking about it.
He's
I was
got a
like, I
he's got a
think
sick bike. Yeah.
I was like, he got a good bike. I know. But anyways, all right. Well, this is episode 1 of Unfiltered Wellness. Like I said, 30 minutes or less every single episode. We're going to dive into topics, everything wellness. That's all we got for you today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Guys.